Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Empowering Process podcast. Today, I get to have a conversation with Jennifer Reefe, who is a compassionate and experienced EFT, emotional freedom techniques coach, with over 35 years of experience and expertise in helping individuals transform their lives. She specializes in self-love, empowerment, and we are going to talk a little bit today about how to navigate being human. Welcome, Jennifer. So welcome, Jennifer.
Oh, it's such a pleasure to be back, Gail. I really love our conversations. I find them very meaningful and it always gives me a lot to think about after we've met.
You and me both. You and me both. You introduced me to tapping. I use it. And I have to tell you, I am working with a client, and one of the things we're doing is exploring meditation. And so I had done our first meeting, a meditation with her, just using a bunch of different modalities, right? Because I don't know if she is a seer, a hearer, a feeler, or whatever. And I record my sessions. I sent the recording, and she used that recording. Next session, she goes, "Yeah, I wasn't getting into it anymore." And I said, "Okay, so first of all, any meditation is fine with me. This was just a meditation. Go out and try a whole bunch of different things." And we got to talking, and I mentioned tapping. And she goes, "Well, I tap." I said, "Well, then you meditate."
You're already doing it.
Right, you're meditating. I know, right? It's the modality that works for you. That's why there's
Absolutely.
so many, right?
I think, people think of meditation as the Buddhist sitting there with his legs, in an unusual situation, if you can
Right.
even get there, and sitting there in this peace and quiet and thinking of nothing. That is just so one way. That
Yes.
if there's
Yes.
so many ways. I mean, you wouldn't think tapping would be meditative, but it is. I go down to the beach as often as I can, and I do nothing, but I'm meditating because I'm doing nothing. I'm
Right.
not thinking of anything. I'm just looking around me, looking at the expansive sky, the waves coming in. I'm
You're
not doing
lost in the
anything.
moment,
Yes, yes. And
right?
that's exactly in the moment. How
In the moment,
meditating is in the moment.
in the moment. I was working with another woman, and again, I can't meditate, I can't focus. I'm always on. So there's a Hawaiian process called hakala. And I said, so I want you to try this. So for people who think they have the monkey mind, I said, I want you to look straight ahead and find a position, then raise your eyes slightly. So your eyes are up a little bit. And I want you to focus on that spot. Put all of your energy into focusing on that spot. Keep your focus on that spot. And after you've been focused on that spot for a while, I want you to start to open up your peripheral vision, but keep the focus on that spot. And as you open up your peripheral vision a little more, keep the focus on the spot and open up your vision. And you keep your focus on the spot until you can't do this anymore. You do that for a couple of days, and I'll tell you what happens. I did this exercise at a training, and the next exercise was communication. And so there's three of us. I'm sitting down, there's someone sitting in front of me, and someone standing behind me. The person behind me is doing a thumbs up, thumb straight, or thumbs down. The person in front of me is to use one word to tell me what direction the thumb is in, right? So you could say landscape, ground, grass, right? Sky, moon, right? Very easy. So the person behind me starts, and I go, oh, thumbs up, down, straight, up, down, straight, straight, down, down. Person in front of me said nothing because I had gotten so sensitive and because I was doing that kind of exercise for a while. that I could sense what was going around me, because we have an eye that is not this eye that is able to sense and interpret what's going on around us. So that is what meditation does for us, is it opens up our awareness. And if you want to get technical, it's your reticular activation system that becomes more aware of the different sensories that it ignored and deleted before, because you're opening it up and waking it up to that.
Well, I've learned something new today then, as ever I
Okay.
do with you. And that's really interesting. But I can imagine that if you're quiet, because you know if somebody's behind you, don't you? You would know anyway if somebody was unexpectedly coming up behind you, you
You
know.
feel it. You
You
feel it.
feel it, you feel it and you turn around. Yeah, you do. So there is definitely something in that knowing
Right.
somebody's in your awareness, albeit the back of you
Right.
or the side of you, coming with maybe uh their energy. It might not be a good energy, and you can
Right.
feel that.
Right.
It's
Right.
being sensitive, not panicking, because if you just feel someone's behind you and you just you're in the flight or fight. If you're in that, you can't think straight, you can't do anything. So that I can see
Yeah.
why you would sense where his thumbs were going.
Well, I'll give you another example. Long before I ever did this kind of exercise, my son was an infant, and I was looking for a daycare that dealt with infants so that I could return to work. And I called one that was not far, very affordable, in someone's home, and it sounded awesome. I hung up and I said, no. And my husband said, why? I said, it doesn't feel right. No. And so I ended up actually at the neighbors next door, right? He was going to college, she was home and bored. And so it was something it was perfect, absolutely perfect.
Mm.
A month later, that facility was closed down for sexual abuse with the children.
Wow.
I
You know,
felt
you really have to
something.
follow your instincts, don't you? You really do.
Don't, and I never justified. I just said it doesn't feel right.
Yeah.
Right. I had an in-home sitter for a while beforehand, and I came home and something didn't feel right, and I fired her. And I got a call, why? And I'm like, I don't have to explain why when it comes to my child.
No, no, definitely not. And a
Right.
mother's instincts is heightened as well.
Right.
Definitely. So I think this coming back to the being human is we're not trusting our instincts perhaps as we maybe our ancestors did. We're we're bombarded with so much nowadays about what we should do, how we should do it. We'll do it this way, do it that way. I think we're losing the human response of our own body, not listening to ourselves enough. We seem to be listening to more and more people out there that have no idea how we're feeling.
No, have no idea, and disconnected with nature. I was telling someone just the other day that I went walking, just for a walk, not far, just to be out in nature. And I talked to the trees. I said, well, look at you, leaves. You're a little bit different color. You're starting to come out nice and pretty. Welcome. Right. And oh, smell you, air. I can smell the dirt. It's really a different smell than yesterday. Welcome, earth. Right. And I was noticing the sensations around me from Mother Nature. Right. And we aren't, like, right now, there's a breeze coming in, beautiful breeze coming in, bringing in the fresh air and cleaning out the dust. Right.
Yeah.
We are so programmed into doing that we forget how to be. And that's a lot of the work that I do with people is be in the moment, no matter what that moment is. No labels, no stories, no justification, no explanation. You're feeling the feels, and you have permission to feel shitty or feel awesome
Or
equally.
anything you like, or whatever it is you like. Yeah,
Anything in
that's
between. Yeah.
how do you feel? I feel great today. Yesterday, maybe not so much. It's about acknowledging how you're feeling. And then instead of beating yourself up about it, you can then tap, you can walk outside, you can say, ah, I'd like to change that feeling because it's not going to get me.
Yeah.
I want to just have a brief, yeah, okay, I feel like that. I can actually do something to change it if I choose to, or I could sit there and cry if I want to,
Yeah.
and that's
I
okay
sit with
too.
it. I
Yeah,
sit with the feeling. And I work with clients on how do you stop resisting the feeling, because that emotion, that feeling, that energy surge is telling us, our body, something. And
yeah.
it's not
Listen,
telling us that at 7 years old we got beat up. No, it's telling us something in the moment. It might be a familiar trigger, but it's
yeah,
in the moment. And so if I treat it like a child who stubbed their toe, right? Oh, honey, let me take a look at your toe. Can you wiggle your toe? Okay, go ahead. You can cry about your toe. Do you want me to put a band-aid on your toe? No, just the fact that I acknowledge you stubbed your toe, you feel better.
I think that's absolutely right. It's not about making it better. It's about saying, how do you feel? How does that feel? What would you like?
Right. What would
I
you
don't want
like from
anything.
me?
I don't want anything. Thank you. Okay, I'm here. I'm in the next room if you need me.
Right?
And that's that simple. And we make it so complicated, and we
We
make
do.
dramas, and we make it, we've got a program over here called EastEnders, and it's been going for like nearly 40 years. It's a twice weekly, um, everything that could go wrong in somebody's life goes wrong. There's murders, there's suicides, there's abortions, there's everything in a series, and it's heightened, and people love it. It's this drama. They love it, and people then go out and live their lives like that, and they're drama. So I often say, "Are you in EastEnders? What are you doing?
Right?
What are you doing?
And the drama. So
The drama."
some people are addicted to the drama,
Yeah,
addicted to the anger, addicted to the chaos,
yeah.
right? Because they identify with it, and
Mm.
feel some sense of being seen,
Yes,
right?
yes, because if they don't have that, there might be nothing to talk about. It might be that if you haven't got something to share that's dramatic or awful or terrible or that kind of thing, then you've got nothing to say.
Yes. So, and so this game, these are games people play. There's an old book out called The Games People Play. Get the book.
Yeah,
Get the book.
yeah.
I can remember years ago, long before I was in personal development, but I was very aware. And would go into downtown Boston. I lived in Boston at the time, downtown before work early, and have coffee and Danish or whatever with the girls. And I remember sitting there one time thinking, I really don't contribute to the conversation here because I don't want to, because the conversation was that of one-upmanship. And the one-upmanship was, oh, my husband broke his leg and now I'm waiting on him hand and foot. The other person is like, your husband broke his leg. Did you notice I'm in a sling? I broke my arm, right? You broke your arm. I got pneumonia. I was out for 5 weeks, right? My situation is worse than yours.
Yeah, you think you've got it bad, I've
I
got
got
it
it
worse.
worse, right? And my
Yeah.
boss is horrible. I have to go in there, right? And I'm sitting there and I'm like feeling this energy. Well, why am I having coffee with these women? This
Mm.
is a horrible way for me to start my day. This is not what I want to do first thing in the morning, right?
No.
That I would go in with, a friend of mine that we would take the bus in together. And I really wasn't aware of the negativity that I was in, that I was drawing, because I drew these people obviously to me until
Yeah.
years later. I leave, I go out to California, lived there for 15 years or so, come back, and that woman that I used to go with to that coffee got in touch with her. So, how are you doing? Let's catch up. We went to lunch, and all I heard was how horrible her life is, how terrible things are.
Mm.
She lost her job. She lost, someone ran over my dog and backed up over. I'm like listening to her, and I'm like, holy crap, this used to be my life. Right.
So she
And
was still doing the same thing.
she was still there. And I made some comment about, well, have you looked at this and this and this, which is really awesome in your life? She didn't want to hear that. Do you know
Mm.
I've never heard from her again?
No. So you need to keep people. I mean, you need to be discerning, don't you? You
Yeah.
need to know who you need to be with to receive the same, be on the same wavelength as those, on the same frequency as those people.
Right.
Or, again, it's a choice. You don't have to be with those people. So I have a lot less friends and acquaintances, and I moved to another place that's sort of a couple of hours away from London, where my friends were. And I came here, and I've got my brother-in-law around the corner and sister-in-law, and my friend only recently moved 20 minutes away. So I know four people down here. I've been here 10 years, and I'm so happy.
Yeah.
Only four, and we don't see each other all the time, but
Yeah.
we're here for each other, and it's lovely. And they have some friends. Sometimes I meet them, and I go back to see my other friends. But my other friends, I'm going back to. It's like the same stories are going on, and that's fine. I have to meet them in a different place if I want to see them. I have to know they're going to be negative.
Mhm.
I have to know that, and it's okay for a brief time.
Well, there's this mantra, if you will, that I've started. It was part of a meditation. And I got it from Kyle Cease. I'll give him the credit. And it really is, I allow you to be angry with me, and still I love you. I allow you to have this negative perspective, and still I love you. So it's allowing people to be in the space that they're in, no judgment.
Yes,
And I can love you, but I don't have to be part of this. I don't even have to be part of your life. I can
yes.
love you, and you never have to see me again.
I couldn't be more perfect and
Right.
apt, because now I realize I still want to see them, albeit for a shorter time,
Right.
because I have the connection from years and years ago with them, and there's parts of them that we've got connected with, and I love them. But now I've switched off that. When they start with that, I switch off almost.
Right.
I can sit with it because I'm not really listening to it, because I know that's part of them. And like
Yeah.
you say, I still love you,
Even
yeah,
though, even
even
though,
though,
right.
yeah.
Yeah.
So it's a
And
lovely way of doing it. So you're allowing people to be themselves, should you still want to be friends with them for your own reasons and connections.
right.
But you don't have to spend most of your time listening to that when you could be doing something else that you
Correct.
prefer,
Correct.
like anything. Any-
Anything.
anything, anything other than that. Because if I want that, I can watch the television for that. But then I
Well,
can switch
and
the
I can watch
television
the
off if I want
television.
to.
Right. I can
Yeah.
watch the television for pleasant things too. So I will watch, I rewatch series because I love the series, even if they're gory. And, Criminal Minds is one that I will watch over and over again. But that gets pretty harsh sometimes. And
Yeah.
so I'll watch an episode and I'll check in. How am I feeling? Yeah. Okay. I'm done. So let me watch something lighthearted, right? To kind of cleanse that out. And then let me do a meditation to kind of cleanse that out.
So we still need that little bit, don't we? Still like that, the
But
drama.
we're here for an experience, for
Yeah.
emotion. And so I'm
You
looking,
can have the drama.
right. Yeah, let me have the drama, but I don't have to identify or own the drama.
And I don't have to watch it every single week. And I
No,
don't have
no.
to, I mean, I think the choice again is that because Leon and I like that. We like cop series. We love it.
Yeah,
They're quite they're quite tame ones, but I do love a good story like that. And I'm quite happy looking at that. And then on the other hand, I'm quite happy looking at something completely different that's much
correct.
lighter.
Correct.
And but the news is off the
No
news is
news.
not in my no. There's no news. And people often say, well, how are you going to know? I said, Leon will tell me, the radio will tell me, somebody will tell me,
If
as
it's
has
important.
happened in the past. If it's really important and I have to leave quickly, I'll know.
Yeah, yeah. And if not, then it's my time to go.
And if not, you're right. Not a
Right,
lot you can do about that, is there?
right, right. So where's the fear?
Trust. So trust. And maybe it's trust, the
Yeah,
opposite to fear. It's the trust saying,
right,
I'm going to do the best I can
right.
and make choices that are going to make me happy most of the time. And I'm going to spend my time alone with nature. I'm going to be on my own. If you want to call it meditation, call it what you like, but I'm going to have some quality time, not thinking about anything.
I call them mindful routines,
Lovely.
right?
Perfect.
And they don't
Yeah.
even have to be a routine, like, every day at 7 o'clock, I'm going to do this. No,
No.
no. But it could be, so the group that I had invited you into, Diamond Beauties, I'm working with one of the women there, and she she alchemized very quickly. So it's like, well, we have some sessions still available, so you have some choices what to do with them. We can continue meeting weekly or switch to monthly and go on to maintenance. And so she wants to continue, and she said, I want to go deeper. So there's a challenge out there, and it's the meditation challenge, 3 times a day for 30
Wow.
days for 15 minutes a day each time. So in the morning, 15 minutes, at middle of the day, and that in the evening, 15 minutes. That's all. Any kind of meditation you want. So her and I are playing with meditations. I did one, sometimes I'll do my own, sometimes I'll just be quiet, sometimes it's walking. It's like whatever floats my
Yes.
boat, right? And I was out and I listened to one. It was 555, so it was May 5th meditation, and I heard light language. So the person who was giving the meditation kept slipping in and out of light language, which I have heard, but didn't realize I've heard before. So I mentioned it to a bunch of women that I heard light language. Well, they started going on about, do you know that there's light language from the various planets? Right. So, one woman she says, yeah, I like Mitakan. And I said, you're from Mitaka? And she said, yes. And so we talked about that. um, and I listened to one, and it was okay, but it wasn't resonating because there's different languages, and you don't have to understand what it's saying. You have to feel what it's creating, right? And I thought, is there dragon light language? Holy Toledo, there is. So I went out and I'm like, I'm going to try this one. And that particular one, the sound, the noise, because it's like if you have a sound healer, that's what they're doing. They're channeling light language, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And whatever this person was saying, they sounded very soft and very gentle. And for those of you who don't know, I have a dragon. I have been riding a dragon for 10 years now. And this is what my dragon sounds like.
Wow.
And I'm like, this is amazing. I want to learn dragon language.
How exciting. Having your
Right.
own dragon and riding your own dragon.
Yeah. Well, I
Oh,
do dragon meditations and dragon cards every Friday at
wow.
noon, right? I pull a card with the people that are in the meeting. just one card, and I pull it in the, what does the collective need to hear today? Not what individual, but the collective.
Right.
And then we talk about the dragon, and then I'll do a meditation. Now, last week, the dragons were, I got two, they stuck together, so they had to come. And one was the earth and water dragon, and the other was the deep blue dragon. My dragon is a deep blue dragon. So the earth and water dragon is about manifestation. So we did that meditation, which is about
Wow.
taking your desires and putting them in a bubble. The dragon takes them and plants them for you. As it grows and it's a seedling, the dragon then takes it and puts it in your heart.
Oh, lovely.
Right? Right.
Yeah.
And before we started, I had everyone look the dragon in the eye. Like, please take the dragon and look in her eyes. And I want you to
Mm.
touch and pet the dragon.
Mm.
It's like a horse,
Connect.
just right.
Connect. Yeah.
And then let's move forward. The dark blue dragon is a protection. And what's interesting is that days before, interesting, this not, it happens all the time, serendipity. Days before, I imagined my dragon burning pillars that were coming towards me and just burning them to cinder. And so I'm like, okay, so that's cool. Well, the dark blue dragon's job is to protect you up to a kilometer around you, underneath your house, over your, anywhere that you feel negativity, by burning it to ashes. So I pulled the card that represented exactly what I foresaw days before.
Yeah. Wow.
Right? This is happening to more and more every day. That's
Mm.
serendipitous moments of foreseeing, of being in this, saying and seeing the same thing,
Connecting
communicating,
it. Yes.
right?
And it's telling you again, and the message is there. You're receiving the message.
And that's what being human is versus doing human.
Well, it's being open
Yeah.
to anything that may be not familiar to, it's not
Be
familiar to us.
curious.
Be
Yeah.
curious and accept if you see it. I work with angel cards. I've got
Yeah.
an angel book and angel cards, and I pick one up, and I've got a dowser that I often use, not for everything, but if I need to
You mean one of
check
these?
something. Yep, I got two of those. Yep, I got different ones, and it's I don't often use them, but I remember something happening, and I dowsed, and it said no, 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 which I knew it was a yes, 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 yes in my head, and it turned out it was a no eventually,
Yes.
because I kept thinking it's not right. It's
Right.
definitely not right, because it is right. So it's about trusting what you don't know, trusting what you can't see,
Right.
trusting the extra layers we have and the connections we have around the universe, that we can't see them doesn't mean they're not there.
And because we get, and so for me, I don't want to say we, I can only talk for me. When I get an impulse to do something, even I will say, are you kidding? This is ridiculous. But I'll do it because I trust
Yeah.
that I'm being directed. So I met with a gentleman who is a sound healer, but a channeler as well, Sunday. Now, one of the visions I've had is that me moving forward is like I'm walking on water and a stone shows and I step on it. And then the stone shows and I step on it, right? So the universe is basically telling me this way, this way. So I don't have to know all the stones. I
No,
just
no,
know
no.
the
One at a
next
time.
one, right?
Yeah.
One
Pull it
stone at
through.
a time, right? And where it ends, nobody knows. And there were a lot of things that he said that were spot on, including, he says, I see you stepping stone by stone on your pathway.
Whoa.
That's only one of the woes with him.
Yeah. I
Right?
know it's yeah.
Right? You can't make this stuff up.
No, and it's so exciting, isn't it? Because
Yes.
why do you have to know everything? You can't.
But you
Why do you
do, but
even want
just
to?
not in, just the ego doesn't know. Third dimension doesn't know, but you know, the you that is feeding you what you need when you need it, if you don't block it.
If you listen, if you're listening.
Yep. And
So
here's
it's
the
all
cool.
about,
Go ahead. Go ahead. No,
yeah.
you go ahead.
No, 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 I'm just saying that you think about evolution and the way we're going and things are happening and the phones and what you can do and what you can't do. And people are, doing all sorts of amazing things. And we're going further and further and further away from our own natural being.
Ah, but that's not true. People like you
Well,
and me,
that's what I'm saying. They're going
right?
and we're stopping. we're,
Well,
we're
the
standing.
division is getting clearer. That's all.
Yeah.
Right. So, and I
Yes.
guess we can't have one without the other, universal law of polarity. So you have to love that
No,
they're doing, there's no judgment, right? Um,
no, it's people have to create. We understand that we are creators
right,
as well.
right.
So, you go out and create, but it's just it's a lot of people are getting lost because when they've created and got what they want, they're not happy
Because that's not what they want.
because that's not actually, or you can have both, maybe you're going out there doing that and you have this other time. Why can't we have both?
Well, you
We can be
can.
creators and we can be dreamers.
Well, we can. So I now call myself, right, a reformed project leader. Why? Because that's what I did. I'm excellent at it. I hate doing it because it's not my dharma, but I'm really good at it. Right. And so if someone needs that, I will not do it as a coach. No. But
No.
if a friend needs help with that, I will step right in.
Yeah, you've got
Right.
that skill you can
Right.
lend to her or
Right.
him. Yeah,
Right.
that
Right.
that's good. There's nothing wrong in having skills. It's just that we just don't choose to do that on a love, on an everyday basis. We prefer to
Correct.
do this work,
Correct.
helping people to come back to themselves, to
Correct.
get to know themselves, to love themselves,
Right.
and to listen to themselves. That's what
Yeah,
we're going inwards, they're going outwards, and that's fine. You can do both.
absolutely. So I'm going to put us on pause because our exterminator just showed up. So I'm going to pause us and we'll be right back.
Okay.
And so we're back. Um, so one of the things that we'll talk about is it's okay whatever path you go down. It's okay if you think you're not following your dharma. It's okay because if there's something that you're supposed to do, the universe is an amazing GPS and will recalculate, right? And adjust your trajectory. It's up to you to choose to listen or not, right?
I like that.
And if you don't, that's okay too. You'll be back. This is not your first or last rodeo.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's so exciting when you talk like that. It's just so exciting that you don't have to get it all right now. It's not your one only, well, that's what we believe. It's not your
Right,
one and only time.
right.
And that's really exciting.
And each experience is an experience that I chose.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, I have this. I was reading a book years and years ago, and they come back to you, don't you? When
Yeah,
you do this work, you remember things. And I just remember reading that you choose to come into this world with those parents, with that situation. You are choosing. Can you just? I have decided that's what I want, and then when you get here,
you go,
you have
holy
no idea.
crap.
Well, you have no idea that you've chosen it
Right.
maybe until later, and it's disastrous or it's horrible or it's just not a good situation. But that if you've chosen that situation, you've got exactly what you wanted,
So
even though you don't. Yeah,
two things. Because so I've had a client that um we got to, she remembers choosing her experience. And she's because after the third dimension, fourth dimension, and all on is just love and joy. That's all it is love and joy. So she's like, I am so full of love. I can do that. I can go into there. And she said, I remember hitting my mother's womb and going, holy shit, no. Because the feelings that we have with that intensive. So that kind of happens. And Jennifer, we not only choose this experience, we created this experience. Right? We designed this for ourselves. We designed this so that we would experience whatever in order to be available to expand the universe. Because the universe is energy, vibrations, frequency.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
our experiences creates a ripple effect that expands the universe. So we need to be here to learn and to expand the
Yeah.
universe, right? And so when I'm done with clients, especially who have gone through a really tough darkness, and when we're done, I congratulate them on being great game masters, because they created this game because they were already so good at a lower level. So congratulations on being a game master at this level. Look what you have succeeded at, right?
Yeah. 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 And it's wonderful to work with people who are ready. I mean, I'm working with a client at the moment who is so excited and so ready and and gets it really fast. She's so ready. And it's just wonderful that she's so excited. And, I get really excited when I'm working with her because I
Yes.
can see we've been working together for 7 weeks. So that's only, I mean, an hour and a half each session.
Right.
It's a few hours. And she's made these dramatic changes
Because she
in
does the
her.
work after.
Oh, yeah. I mean, yeah. No, we're not doing an hour and a half and like that's it. You leave it to the next week. No, no, no.
No,
She
no,
is
no.
making changes.
There's
Oh
homework.
no.
There's homework.
Oh, she's always, yeah, what are you going to do this week? Yeah. So she's making very fast changes. So I can see she's 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 can't wait. She just can't wait for the
Right.
next. Yeah, it's amazing.
It
She's
is so
so into
fantastic.
it. Yeah, and I love it because that, working together with that energy, the two of us, I'm sort of saying, yeah, let's try that. And she's, yeah, okay. She's so excited. And it's just, well, it's just the whole thing, the whole way I work is so, I'm so honored to work with people that are trusting me. They're trusting me to take them along this journey.
Yeah.
They're trusting what I'm saying. They're trusting. I mean, that's that in itself. She's never met me.
Yeah.
Doesn't know who I am.
What's really interesting, so I'm going to start giving dragon card readings. And here's why. So I told you about what happened with the meditation, and one of the women in that group she's an amazing channeler. She's a ridiculously crazy good healer, a marketing genius, right? So it's not, if you woo woo, you're not business, that's wrong. You're everything. Um, and her and I were talking, and she said, you should have an offer for your dragon cards. She goes, Gail, I used to be afraid of dragons, and I had that session with you, and I can't wait to be around dragons.
Well, clearly that's your next mission.
Right. So, that is, so I'm like, I can do that. I can absolutely have little brief. You want to come in for an hour or whatever. It won't
Yeah.
even take that long. Um,
How exciting.
just to understand and to do a meditation around the dragon that shows up. That's the miracle. That's where the magic happens. Right. And I have to say, I want to give the kudos to Jennifer while I have her. She did a session with me on tapping. And I actually took that session and created a meditation with it afterwards. But because of it, now I don't have to tap for a second, and I can feel the vibration in my body shift because I have done it enough times that it's like, holy moly, like I can feel it like go down my spine. And one of the other
Wow.
things that happened, we did a tapping and I did under the arms and like, oh, my endocrine system needs a little attention. The gentleman I met with on Sunday says, oh, your endocrine system's a little sluggish. Well, we'll just wake that up.
Wow.
I'm telling you, this is amazing.
That is, I mean, but you already knew. You see, that's it.
Right.
It's in touch. It's being in touch with, it's like knowing your child, or it's just knowing somebody so well, you know what they're going to say next.
And what they need.
And definitely what they need.
Right.
And then you don't have to ask anyone else because that's what we're used to. What do you think? Shall I do that? Shall I do this?
Yeah,
I don't
my
know.
whole session with him, he kept
Yeah.
saying, I'm not telling you this, I'm reaffirming what you already know. It's things like,
So already knows.
right. He says, well, go find the 7-year-old you and bring her into play. He goes, you already do that. I'm like, yep. Okay. I want you, you're already a channeler. He goes, you know that? I'm like, yep.
Yeah, but he was just confirming
He
it to
was
you,
just
wasn't
confirming.
he? Yeah.
Right. But it's just was interesting. So folks, my 7-year-old sits in my lap and swings her legs all the time, because if I'm not having joy, then what's the point? And she likes to have fun.
Well, I feel the same. I do quite a lot of tapping with people, and I say, get the little girl and bring her in your heart, make her smaller and smaller and put her in your heart, and that kind of thing. You can always take her with you now. She's not alone. So I do that a lot. Um, and I find that, everything I do for that client, I'm benefiting. It's like, I'm doing it for them, but I'm receiving. It's like when I do Reiki healing or you do any sort of energy work, you are receiving as you are giving because
Yes.
it's coming through you to them.
If you're exhausted after a session with someone, then you're giving, um, and that's not benefiting them.
No,
Right.
no,
I tell folks I walk beside you, but
yes.
you have to walk.
Yeah, there's no carrying going on. There's no
No,
giving. No,
no,
no, you have to walk. You're
right,
right. Walking beside you is great because you're both equal and you're walking together. So you have somebody to guide you when you're not so sure, which is what we
right.
do.
Or someone to say, we can stop now if you want.
Yeah,
Um, as a child, so talk about precognitive stuff happening. I didn't do now I lay me down to sleep. I I thought that was ridiculous. And so I asked my father for a prayer that meant something. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death,
shadow of death. I will
I
feel
fear
no
no
evil.
evil, because thou art with me.
Yeah.
I
Oh,
am the thou art with you.
hmm.
I'm like, holy moly. Why did
Wow.
he pick out of the whole Bible that?
Yeah. 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 That's very powerful. And
Yeah.
I've gone, I mean, it's just reverberated through my whole body, that the whole thing, even now.
Yeah. Yeah. And our guides are always with us. And that's what, I did a podcast today, and the interviewer asked me about my dragons. And she, could you explain to people what dragons are? And I said, they were like any spiritual guide. They are a spiritual guide, right? And if and I posed this scenario. I read a book years ago, and the woman who was the author said, she was going into her son's room who was sick, and she saw a witch go out the window. And she wrapped herself around her son to share her energy to help him heal. And she thought, witches must be real because they exist in every culture around the world. How is that so if they're not real? Because they have existed throughout time.
Mm,
Dragons must be real
mm,
because they
mm.
exist in all of the cultures around the world and have existed throughout time.
Yeah.
right? Now they have
And fairy, we've got fairies as well. We have
fairies,
fairies.
elves, gnomes. Yes,
Yeah, we have angels.
everywhere.
You
So
know,
the dragons work with the angels. They work with the archangels.
oh,
Yes.
that's why we work together so well.
Yeah. Maybe. Maybe. Right.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
yes, they'll bring one with them if you need them. It's only if you need them. And they're all around right now. They're all around. It's the we are in fourth dimensional energy, which is why I can't grasp time because there's no time and space there. And it's kind of
Mm.
funny, and I have to remind myself that I'm still living in the third dimension, so I have to have some concept of time, please. Right?
Yeah, yeah, there has to, yeah, we're living in this world. We need
Right.
to be aware. But
Right?
I was saying that about time, and people were saying, well, how old do you feel? People are always saying that, or people are saying, um, well, I can't do that because I'm too old. So I can't lose weight because I'm too old. I can't walk fast anymore because I'm too, there's always an I'm too old. And they could be in their 50s, we're not even talking about old. And somebody said to me, well, how old are you? I said, well, the thing is, I don't really
I
buy
can't relate
into
to
that.
it. Right?
But if you want to know how I feel right now, 25.
25 is
Is it?
actually where I stop. It's really funny because I, my whole life, have said women don't get past the age of 25 and men 29.
Oh,
Right. And my grandson used to say, Gigi, how old are you? I said, 25. And my son would like laugh. And then finally, one year, he stopped and he went, so my dad is older than you?
that's not right, is it? Yeah,
Yeah, that doesn't, wait a minute, something is off here.
it's not right, is it? Yeah. But 25. I mean, my granddaughter keeps telling me how old I am and makes me even older. So I say, listen, I'm not having any of that. That's 25. That's how I feel. I honestly, truthfully feel 25. But it doesn't matter. If it's not, I'm too old to do that. None of that is in the equation.
It really is a fabrication. Well, we're here for certain experiences. And I think when the experiences played out,
Yeah,
that's when
yeah,
we're
we're
done.
not here.
Right?
Yeah.
It doesn't matter about age. It matters about what
No.
experience we signed up for. And
Yeah.
some spirits have signed up to be a lesson for others. So they've signed up to have to die at 5, right, or to have a blah blah blah. How many um legacies or whatever were created because my son was kidnapped and murdered, so I am now going to start this, right, this movement, right? So they came for that experience, so
Yeah.
this would happen, right?
Yeah.
They came for that. Christ came to die on the cross so we'd wake up,
Yeah.
right? Right.
Yeah.
He came to show us what we're just a little bit of what we are capable of. He said we can do more. We can do more, right?
Well, we could do anything.
Anything, because it's just assimilation.
It's, we
We,
could do anything. I mean,
yeah,
what is it? You can't, people say that's in the way, this is in the way. I think, well, give it a try. Maybe, it's that. I think in a way it's my child saying that. I still feel that that child likes me, and I like that because
yes.
I'm going to take a lot more chances like that.
Oh,
I'm going to accept
yes.
more things. I'm a child. Children will just believe what you tell them.
And they're fearless.
Anything.
And they're fearless, right? And they're
Yes.
curious.
Yes.
Why? Why? Why?
And
Why?
it's fun. I know.
Why? But why? Right? They are that curious. Yes, it'll drive you crazy, and I would turn the tables. Well, why do you need to know? Why do you think you're asking?
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
What are you doing with it? Yeah.
Right?
But it's
Um,
lovely to be in that in all over the place, young, older, doesn't matter what's the difference. Just have these experiences, help people along the way, be loving, be kind, be generous with your time, your money, your your knowledge, share it. Don't be frightened. Don't be so
Right.
worried that people are going to take it from you.
Oh, take it. No, take. I literally at one point, um, I was getting downloads so much, so quickly, and I was overwhelmed. And I talked to my spiritualist friend, Franco, love you. And I said, yeah, I asked the universe to slow down. He goes, don't stop what's coming. Don't ever stop what's coming. So I thought about that. So what do I do? And so I said, keep it coming. And if I don't get to it, give it to someone else, but just keep it coming and give me a chance. Right. So I'll get to what I can, and what's left over, give it to someone. So I call it that, like I get the fire hose, and I'm in fire hose mode a lot. Right. It's like, okay, I can do this. I can do, and there's a lot of things that I start and I don't finish because it comes. And it's like, or
Yeah.
I will get an inkling to do something and I don't act on it. And an hour later, it's like, well, whatever it is, someone else has it now. Right.
Okay. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's okay.
That makes sense. You can pass it on. It's not just all down to you.
Right.
You
We're a
can have it.
collective.
Yes.
We're not
Yeah. Share,
separate.
share it. Share
Right.
it.
Right. It needs to be done. If I don't do it, you do it. That's good. Let's just do it.
Yeah.
Right.
Somebody's got to do it. Yeah.
Right.
And it's not for you, it's for them. But that's being very open and very trusting, and a belief that there's more than what you can see, because we can't see the energy. We can't see it.
Right.
We can feel it. We can't see it.
Right. And we try to understand it. And that's another thing that I work with clients
Yeah.
on, is stop trying to
Yeah.
understand. Because that is
Yeah.
another diversion. That's another resistance, right?
Yeah.
And
It's
another
true.
blame. Well, I need to understand. No, you actually don't.
Why?
Can you
What do you
understand
need?
electricity? Do you need to understand electricity? No, then you don't need to understand this,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Just learn
Yeah. I
how
mean,
to
you
use
put
it.
the plug in, switch it on, and it works. That
Yeah,
I'm not an electrician. I don't need to know how to wire it,
right.
I don't know idea how it works, but I know it does.
And who said fly a kite and put a key on it and you'll, who the heck would think that that would work? Right? Oh, there's a thunderstorm. Let me get that key. Right? How insane is that?
No.
That's trusting information to download
Yeah.
and then, okay, let's see what happens. I'll try that.
Yeah.
And yes,
Who
there was
knows?
some knowledge, but not much, right? EM3 squared. Well, I was riding on a light beam, right? And this came to me, right? Seriously. He trusted,
Yeah.
right? And
Yeah.
he went on that journey. So I
Yeah.
trust that I'm riding my dragon.
Yeah. I
I
love it. I
trust
love
that they're
it.
all around.
And it reminds me of Game of Thrones. I don't know if you saw Game of
Of
Thrones.
course I did. You don't
Yeah.
think I adored
A
her?
few times, a few times. And yeah, the dragons. Wow.
Right,
Wow. And she's amazing. I
right.
mean,
And of
it's
course
just
she
so
turned evil at
fairy
the
tale.
end. We knew that was going to happen, but that's okay. There, so yeah, so I ruined the end for you. Too bad. It's been around for a while. You should have watched it.
Brilliant. I mean, I didn't like a lot of the violence, but I realized
Yeah.
that was part of the culture then, and that's how they behaved. So,
Right.
if you
I
can
was
just let it,
disappointed the first time my hero, a hero of mine, was killed. And I
there's
was
a lot
like,
of killing.
oh, I'm not sure I'm going to want to watch this if everyone I think is a hero is going to die. Because what is the point of this? The hero is supposed to win. Right? If I'm going to watch a television program, the hero is supposed to win.
Well, that's what we know, isn't it? That's
Right?
what we know. I love that. I love that program for so many reasons.
Right. There's
And I'm
so
so glad
much
I
going
watched
on
it.
there. There's a lot of messages in there, a lot of
Oh, God.
subliminals. Yep.
Absolutely.
right?
And
And the hero, by the way,
yeah.
does win in this lifetime. I'm getting feedback. The hero does win. We are the
Mm,
hero,
mm,
right?
mm.
Because the universal GPS will make sure we do. We're here for this game and we
Yeah.
will win the game. Now, from a third dimensional egoic perspective, we might not be winning.
Depends how you see it.
Right,
What is winning? What does winning mean to you?
right, right. And that's being human versus doing human.
I think the whole point is, and I feel aligned with you. I've reached that point now where I'm happy just being. I've never been happy just being. I've done a lot. I've never been happy being. And I'm really happy being and doing nothing. But I'm a doer too. So I do, and
Stuff,
then I think I'll do nothing.
right?
And I love it. And
And in doing nothing, innovation and creativity comes to mind.
well, that's what I mean. You're doing nothing, but meanwhile, because you're quieting your mind and your body, that's when you get the messages. That's when you get the information to stay as you are or do something else. Or you can't hear that when there's so much noise going on, can you?
Right, right,
You've got 25 televisions around you and mobile phones, and you're supposed to hear a message.
right.
You can't.
Well, you're not listening.
You can't listen. It's just too much noise. So the only way you're going to get a message or peace of mind, peace of being, is to go out there with the trees, with the sunlight, with the rain, with the whatever it is, doesn't matter, with the sea, with anything in nature. And
Mhm.
like you talking, I look at the trees and I think, thank you for like I'm breathing because of you. Thank you.
Right.
And these trees are like hundreds of years old. They're
And they're saying,
enormous.
thank you. You're exhaling what we need,
Yeah, we need to work together.
right?
Yeah,
Symbiotic,
we need each other,
right?
so wouldn't you thank someone who you need, and say thank you very much for your service?
Right.
And
Thank you very
and
much for your
and
service.
yeah, I
Love
mean,
it.
I just look at the leaves and think, oh my God. In fact, what I heard the other day, probably it was just birds singing. It was bird song as I was on my walk to the beach.
Mm,
Birds singing the most exquisite songs together, talking together. And in fact, what I used to tell my daughter when we'd hear that, I'd say, what do you think he's saying to his friend? Is he inviting him over for tea later? Do you think he's going to have this conversation? What are they
yeah.
saying to each other? It's
That is
so
a form of
beautiful.
light language. Do you
Oh,
know?
it's
That is
it's
what light language is.
it's beautiful. It's the pitch, the notes they reach, and the song that is orchestrated between them. If you just
So,
sit and listen.
do you know that birds singing calm the body because our mind, our body remembers that birds singing means safety and peace.
Mm.
And when we hear birds singing, we go into that state automatically.
Well, I thank you for that because I did not know that.
Yeah.
I just know it's a beautiful feeling
Yeah.
listening to this. It's like the best orchestra you could hear. It's like the best singer you could listen to.
It's ancient
And
memory,
they're just little birds.
right? Right. And when you think about it, when there's war and battle or something going on, there's no birds around. They're like,
Oh, my.
I'm out of here. Right. Even sailors of old, what was the sign that they were finally coming to land? Seagulls. As soon as they saw seagulls, they knew, okay, we're almost there.
Yeah.
We're almost home. Yeah.
And the doves of peace, when you think of all the birds around, that
Yeah,
they're so important
they are.
and they're beautiful. I mean, they're just it's just noticing listening. I mean, luckily around here, you don't see many people on their phones, luckily. But in London, when I go up to town, that's
Um,
they're not even looking across the road. I mean, it's
no,
worrying.
even the walk that I do when I take our dog out for a walk, there's a gentleman who walks his dog, and 100% of the time he is on the phone.
Mm,
100% of the time.
no,
And I'm
it's
like,
very sad.
what is so important that, I mean, I don't even bring my phone with me when I'm walking the dog. I don't bring the phone with, I might bring the phone if I want to count my steps, but then it's in my pocket, right? I'm not on the
Yeah,
phone.
no,
It's in my pocket.
no, no.
Um,
It's
I
very sad that it's sad that watching so many young people. I mean, I know I can't do anything about that
well,
personally. I
maybe
just,
they'll wake up and see that they've lost a good portion of their life in technology.
I should say so. I mean, it's holding less and less um interest for me. In fact, it's beginning to annoy me
Yeah,
slightly. I mean, I'm glad we're on Zoom and I'm glad we can talk like this and it's wonderful. So it's got its place,
right.
but too much bombardment, messages,
Oh my
buy
God.
from me, buy from me, no, buy from me, no, I've got more, no, come on, my. I mean, it's too much
Yeah.
for me. It's too
Uh,
much. Overload for me.
I was about to get off of Facebook when I joined this group that we're in. And the only reason I'm still on Facebook is because that group is 100% on Facebook, because there's too much noise.
Yeah,
So when
for
I
me,
go on,
definitely.
there's one person I read her post because every day she posts her growing son and what they did that day. Right. So
Lovely.
yes, so I want to read her story. Um, and then I say happy birthday to people I'm still connected with. Just because you're on my friend list doesn't mean I'm gonna say happy birthday. Right.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
like whose birthday do I want to acknowledge? And then I go right to that group.
Yeah.
That's it. I don't really care about the rest. It's just
No, me neither.
it's just
And I just love connecting with, I mean, this has enabled you and I to connect. So that's
right.
wonderful. And I've met some wonderful, truly wonderful people. I haven't even met them, but I've met them on Zoom. And
Right.
so technology is definitely, the phone, we need things that it's important. I get that, the way we're living. But I just think that it's overrun. It's just completely gone mad. And it's it's upsetting not to see the kids not talking to each other.
Well,
You know, they're not
they,
talking to each other. They're not,
no, they're not. They're one line
they're
text.
messaging. They're
That's not
messaging.
communicating. That is not
Yeah,
communicating. Um, yeah, if
it's
I used
sad.
to have a rule when I was in corporate, if I send an email, you send a question back. If I respond and you come back, I pick up the phone,
Yeah, it's enough.
right? Right? Because obviously you're not hearing
We
what
need
I
to
have
talk.
to say, and
Yeah.
you might be distracted, or I don't know. So let's talk, right?
Yes,
Um,
yes,
and then I will send an email. Okay, so glad we talked, blah, 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 blah. Right. But that was not for communication, that was for documentation,
exactly.
right?
I mean, I know we can't change things, and I know we can only change ourselves, and I understand that. I just noticing how sad that is for the young people who, who are like this, head down.
Well, that and have a few friends who communicate purely through an app. So I have a dozen apps, all of them specifically for, well, you communicate with this app, you communicate with that app, you communicate with, right. And so I'm like, who's communicating with me on what app, which is
Yeah,
a waste of my time, a waste of my time. And that's the only time we communicate, right? And so I'm not texting anymore. I will send you a voicemail,
yes, I've been doing that too. How
right?
funny.
Right?
Yeah,
Right. I
yeah,
got your message, yada, yada,
yeah.
yada, yada. Right. So
Talking.
that you get my tonality, right? And if you send me a voice message, I will listen to it when I have time. to actually give
Yeah.
it my attention,
Yeah.
right? Whereas a text, I will glance at a text and then I'm done because I'm busy, which,
Yeah.
you know, people today also expect immediate response, right? Well, I sent you a text. My daughter, I sent you a text, and then she calls. I'm in meetings, and so it goes to voicemail, and then she sends me another text. Are you there? Oh,
Now, are you there now?
yeah,
Can I have you now? Yeah.
right,
Now.
right. And it's never an emergency,
No.
right? And so it's, to me, it's like Chicken Little, because one day it'll be an emergency and I won't be responding
She
because,
would have to say this is an emergency, and then you pick
right,
it up. Yeah.
right. And
Yeah.
even then, I won't respond to the ding.
No, I don't even have a ding.
Yeah.
I've silenced the dings.
Yeah, most of mine are silenced. Most of them.
Can't have any dings
Yeah.
going on. I mean, it's like you're
It's
on call.
It's
Go,
Pavlov's
go.
dog, right? And I'm not here to be a slave to technology. Let's
Exactly.
go back to the days when there was a telephone and a message tape, right?
And
And
I
the
know
phone stayed
now
home.
now we're showing our age, albeit 25. I just think technology is great, but we don't have to play.
And it is a tool.
Yep.
It's not a slave. It's a tool.
Mm.
And it has a purpose. It is not something that you have to identify with. It's just like anything. Don't
Yes.
identify with it, right? Don't
Yes.
rely on it,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
I will
Yeah.
say I am finding some chat GPT is really getting good.
Oh, I love it. I love it.
It's
I love
getting
it. I
good.
use it a lot. I love it.
Uh,
I
uh,
think there's nothing wrong with it at all. I think it's
no,
eloquent.
it's
It's more eloquent than I can say things for
right.
sure. And it does it in a couple of seconds. And I've got a wonderful post and it's all genuine and it's all authentic. I nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. And
Saves me
I just
time.
get stuck and I'll put, hey, can you give me a post? And I actually ask, can you give me a post and price point for blah, 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 blah. And I want you to do a little research and bring in some originality into this. And it
Mm,
did.
I know. It's
And
brilliant.
then it said, do you want an offer page?
Yeah, I know.
And I'm
I
like,
know they offer you more
sure,
than you even imagine.
sure. Yeah,
I
send
know.
me an offer page.
Oh, I
Right?
didn't know you were going to offer me that. Yeah.
Right.
I love it.
But
I love
do I
it.
use it verbatim? No, but it gave me so much to work with.
I think it's
Right?
wonderful providing you know the limitations and you don't profess to put it out there and that's all you're talking, it's
Right.
nothing to do with you. I think you have to be discerning
Right.
and it's another tool. That's what it is.
And I
It's
say
another,
thank you, by the way.
yeah. Oh, me too. Always.
Well, it
That's a bit old
is
school. No, that's
artificial
old school.
intelligence. It does have an intelligence that it is accumulating.
It loves it when you say thank you.
Yes.
It's so polite. It's
Yes.
like your best secretary in the world.
And I appreciate it. But anyway, we are going way over. So,
I know. Oh, we
Jennifer,
could go on
people
all
wanted
night.
to work with you. How would they get in touch? Or even just connected? No.
Just connect with me on LinkedIn, Jennifer Reefe, REEFE, and everything's there. I've got free tappings on my YouTube, Jennifer Reefe. Just remember my name and you'll find me. And
That's
Gail,
true.
as
True.
ever, I hope we have more of these conversations because I love the fact that we're, miles away from each other and we have different upbringings and different things going on, and yet we've really connected. And I love that connection. I really appreciate I appreciate what we both bring to the party.
I
I
love
love
it.
it.
I
And
love
I've
it.
learned so much. Now I've learned about dragons. So now
Are
yeah,
you looking for your dragons? They're here.
I'll look for my
They're
dragon. And,
here.
and
They're here.
I hope we get together again soon, Gail, and
We
have a
absolutely
wonderful week.
will. We absolutely will. Everybody, thank you for listening to the Empowering Process podcast. If you love this, give us if you know someone who could benefit from this, do share it out. And as always, please remember to subscribe so you know when the next episode is available. Have a great day. Thank you, everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to the Empowering Process podcast. Be sure to visit Gail at gailcraft.com to learn more about how she serves thought leaders, entrepreneurs, and goal seekers. And remember, if you like this broadcast, be sure to share and subscribe so you don't miss an episode.